Yeah, and this is an incident from yesterday, but we're getting some new information just into the Live Impact News studio today. So this is some previous video of a fire in progress in Yolo County, California. This is just to the, wow. Did you see that explosion there? I mean, this is just to the west of Sacramento. This is a fireworks facility. Now, I mean, you can see those fireworks going off, and it's certainly a dangerous situation. We're learning from authorities out there that 7 people are still unaccounted for. And this is obviously an explosive situation. You could see there was a fire. There were nearby evacuations and power outages because of this. This was reported in the evening. And actually, it looks like we might be getting a live report from here soon. I know that, Jeb, you're watching one of our affiliates' helicopters circling around the scene, and we're starting to see the reporter. So just bear with us, folks. We're kind of trying to get a gauge of what this next shot is, because we've been watching some live feeds to kind of give you a peek behind the curtain here of the current aerial shots. But right now we're actually seeing the camera turned around on the reporter in the helicopter. So bear with us. We might actually be able to bring you a live report from a reporter in just a few moments. So there you can see, that's the other shot we're watching. So that's the live look, and what we're looking at in full here is the previous imagery from yesterday. So that fire and that explosion. So a few more details as we await to see what comes next from our live feed here. This was around 6 o'clock local time there in the Esparto area of Yolo County, once again to the west of Sacramento. There were flames. The fireworks ignited, as you saw, several explosions there. The explosions continuing. Okay, we've got the reporter talking. Let's listen in now.
6 and 7 o'clock last night. It really is quite startling to see this damage, to see all of this from the air. And even just a moment ago, was able to see some active flames still in one of those appearing to be storage containers, and of course that smoldering that I believe that you can see now on your screens. But really, it's shocking to look at. This explosion just decimated, like you mentioned, this entire property. And I think the other thing that I find just so noteworthy is, while yes, this is an agricultural, more rural part of our community, there are still homes that are relatively close by that you can see if you just take a look in either direction from this blast site. There are homes here, and of course our thoughts are just with everybody who is evacuated, and of course with those families who have loved ones unaccounted for at this point. Like you mentioned, 7 people at this point unaccounted for. And you can see now from a wider view this agricultural area that I was just talking about.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Rachaha Quadash. Double honors to the head apostle and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well. Peace and blessings to you sincere Akim that are pushing this truth all over the 4 corners of the earth, week in and week out, in all truth and sincerity. And as you see, a firework establishment facility caught on fire and exploded. And 7 people are still missing. And it's safe to say that they didn't make it. And somebody ain't getting their fireworks this July 4th. Which you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which you are the biblical Israelites, you're not supposed to be celebrating your oppressor's holiday, July 4th, Independence Day of America, Babylon the Great, so-called independence, right? July 4th, 1776, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans were still in hardcore slavery captivity, getting whipped, beaten, put to death, forced into heavy labor out there on them cotton fields. Okay? Let's get some scriptures. This is Amos chapter 5 and 21. It says, I despise your feast days. And who it is that hates and despises the feast days that the majority of our people celebrate and partake in still unto this day? The Heavenly Father, Yahweh. Okay? It says, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. And July 4th is a day where our people are going to gather together and eat and cook out and grill and light fireworks, and see the bright lights and the colors in the sky, you know, and they're gonna wear American flags and dress up in all different type of USA American attire, right? And they're going to support and uplift Esau's establishment, his system, and Babylon the Great. Okay, let's jump over to. Hey, look at that, man. Ain't nothing. The Lord is the one who did this. You know, ain't nothing left of that place, man. It was a whole big, big plant, if you will, a very large establishment that has been reduced to rubble. Let's go to James chapter 4, verse 4. It says, "Ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with Yahweh?" And the majority of all people are seeking to be friends to this world. That's why they partake in these various different quote unquote holy days. All right. It says, "Know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with Yahweh? Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of Yahweh." And our people want to be friends to this world. They want to be friends to Esau Edom. The Lord had the building explode and the fireworks still went off. Yo, the Lord blew up the whole building. Hey, and you got the grand finale show. That's what they call it. I think they call it the grand finale when you go see these fireworks shows, and the last fireworks session where they light off all the big fireworks all simultaneously together. They call that the grand finale. Well, that's one hell of a grand finale right there. Let's go to Isaiah the 5th chapter and the 20th verse. It says, "Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter." And this is you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Y'all don't partake in, reverence, uplift any of the high holy days in the scriptures. But all of Esau's high holy days, his holidays, okay, the day where he gives you off work and says it's okay to go celebrate and do this, and lays out a blueprint on how to celebrate, right? You partake in all that. It says, verse 21, "Woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sight." For whatever reason you celebrate it, because a lot of our people know that these holy days go back to paganism, go back to slavery, go back to various other things as well, but they still partake in them because they want to be what? Like we read in James the 4th chapter, they want to be one with this world. They want to be accepted. They don't want to be, an outcast. They don't want to be outside the box. Or I do it for my kids. Or I got off work. I ain't got nothing else to do. Well, I know it means that. Well, I don't do it because of that. Nah, man. You can't make something right that has been made wrong. It says, "Woe unto them that are mighty to drink wine, and men of strength to mingle strong drink, which justify the wicked for reward." And this is what's happening. Our people are justifying the wicked, Esau Edom, for reward, for that pat on the back. Well, you're a good guy. I like you. You know what I'm saying? So they can get a little support from their Edomite community, right? So they can look like, they're a nice, cool individual at the job. So they can get support from the family and family members, right? It says, "Woe to them that are mighty to drink wine and men of strength to mingle strong drink, which justify the wicked for reward and take away the righteousness of the righteous from him." And this was beautiful right here, Hell of an explosion. This is Isaiah 30:9. That this is a rebellious people, lying children that will not hear the law of the Lord. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans don't want to listen. Our people right now are getting together and getting prepared for their July 4th celebration or celebratory gathering. You could call it a celebratory ritual. Verse 10 would say to the seers, "See not, and to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things, speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceits." They don't want to hear that you're not supposed to be partaking in these holidays, celebrating your oppressor's day, okay? Which ultimately you're partaking in paganism, right? Idolatry. etc. The list goes on and on and on. And we've done plenty and plenty of videos from the apostles and elders on down going into the history, the origins of these holidays. Okay, but Jake just don't want to listen. It says, get you out of the way, and that's what our people want. They want us out the way, right? They got a problem with us because we're telling them the truth. It says, turn aside out of the path, cause the Holy One of Israel to cease from before us. They said, we don't want to hear about Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. We don't want to hear about the high holy days in the scriptures. Okay? You know, we don't want to hear about the Old Testament, the New Testament. All right? We don't want to hear about the breakdowns. We don't want to hear about the prophecies. We don't want to hear about what's about to happen. We don't want to even hear that we're Israelites. Right? They said, I'm black and proud of it. It says, wherefore thus saith the Holy One of Israel, because ye despise this word and trust in oppression and perverseness and stay thereon. Our people are standing 10 toes down on what Esau has laid out for them. Okay? Standing 10 toes down on the ways and philosophies and doctrines of this world. Verse 13, therefore this iniquity shall be to you as a breach ready to fall, swelling out in a high wall, whose breaking cometh suddenly at an instant. And he shall break it as the breaking of the potter's vessel that is broken in pieces. He shall not spare, so that there shall not be found in the bursting of it a sure to take fire from the hearth, or to take water without out of the pit. You know, the Lord's going to cause that to come very, very suddenly upon you. One minute you think you got it figured out, the next minute you ain't got a clue. Just like it speaks about in Isaiah, I believe that's the 30th chapter. You know, the strength in Pharaoh and the strength in the putting your faith and trust in the shadow of Egypt, okay, shall be your confusion. I believe that's up in this chapter. Yeah, right here, Isaiah 30:1. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with the covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin, that walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh. So they seek to strengthen themselves in the strength of the modern day Pharaoh, America, Babylon the Great, right? You know, the ruler of Babylon the Great, concerning these wicked elite Edomites, right? It says, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. They put their trust in Babylon the Great. And they don't see this place going down. It says, therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. And the ultimate grand finale is going to be when Babylon the Great gets hit with them ICBMs. Okay? That's going to make this explosion look like nothing, man. You know? That's the grand finale. That's when the real fireworks are going to set off. Okay? When those intercontinental ballistic missiles get shot over here to the ends of the earth. Scriptures say the whole earth shall rock to and fro like a drunkard. That's how heavy a fireworks show, a great destruction is coming upon Babylon the Great. Let's go to Proverbs, the 3rd chapter. Let's go down to verse 31. It says, envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. See, our people envy the so-called white man. They want to be just like him. They want to partake in what he partakes in. They want to be a part of these various different heathens, man. You know? They support something that has you in oppression, is constantly seeking to destroy you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and the Native Americans. Here it is. Our people are getting deported. I mean, our people are getting deported, getting thrown on planes and kicked out in the middle of the ocean, getting put in alligator detention centers. Esau's running up in your house, running up in your crib, running up in your place of business and office, okay? And yanking you up and putting you in handcuffs and saying you ain't allowed in our country no more, okay? And those same individuals is about to get together right now and cook hamburgers and hot dogs and all types of other abominations and you know, support America, man. You know? Celebrate July 4th. You saw that in these protests. A lot of these protesters, when they were interviewed, they didn't say, you know, to hell with America, this, that, and so forth. They're basically seeking love from their oppressor. Accept me, please. This is not right. You have to accept us. Do the right thing. Right? They also they essentially want love from Esau Edom. What does Esau Edom have to do to Jake for Jake to despise this man? And that's what these wicked elites are sitting back. What can we, damn, we didn't did this, we didn't did that. Going back into history, even to present time. And these people they still want to love us, man. They still, damn. Our people are through, man. This is Proverbs 3:31. Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. Okay? Let's get one more scripture, man. And this is, going back into the history, this is why Israel fell, man. Let's go to 2 Kings, the 17th chapter, and the 7th verse. And it says, for so it was that the children of Israel had sinned against the Lord their power Yahweh, which had brought them up out of the land of Egypt, from under the hand of Pharaoh king of Egypt, and had feared other gods, and walked in the statutes of the heathen, whom the Lord cast out from before the children of Israel, and of the kings of Israel, which they had made. And the children of Israel did secretly those things that were not right against the Lord their power Yahweh. So they were doing, involved in idolatry, okay? Worshiping other gods, doing, things that were against Yahweh by Shem Yahushua that they learned in Egypt, okay? Going into the customs of the heathen. It says, and they built them high places in all their cities, from the lower of the watchmen to the fenced city, and they set them up images and groves in every high hill and under every green tree, and they burnt incense in all the high places, as did the heathen whom the Lord carried away before them, and wrought wicked things to provoke the Lord to anger. Okay? And our people celebrating July 4th, you're actually partaking in a ritual. You're coming together and you follow along the guidelines that Esau has set before you to partake in and celebrate his holiday. There's more than just lighting fireworks. There's more to that lighting fireworks and just watching the lights burst in the sky. It's actually a ritual that you're partaking in. Okay? And it says, where was I at? Let's just continue on at 11. I lost my spot. It says, and there they burnt incense in all the high places, as did the heathen from the Lord carried away before them, and wrought wicked things to provoke the Lord to anger. And this is still happening to this day, man. And Yahweh Shem Yahushua is very, very angry with you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Here it is, you're supposed to be a holy people unto him, and you want to be like these heathens, man. You want to be like these other nations who are nothing in the eyes of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. It says, verse 12, for they served idols, whereof the Lord had said unto them, ye shall not do this thing. Yet the Lord testified against Israel and against Judah by all the prophets and by all the seers. And the Lord has his prophets and his seers out here once again, telling you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans to turn from your wicked ways. Start partaking in these holidays. Stop eating pork, shrimp, crab, and lobsters. The law, statutes, and commandments are not done away with, right? That salvation is only for Israel. But 2/3 of the nation of Israel, here in America, they got to go, right? There's a high percentage of our people that are not going to make it on this side, okay? It says, and by all the seers saying, turn ye from your evil ways. Yeah, stop celebrating July 4th. Stop celebrating your birthday. Stop celebrating Christmas, Halloween, all these various different days in America, which essentially there is a holiday for every day, multiple holidays every day of the year over here in Babylon the Great. You can do your research on that. It says, turn ye from your evil ways and keep my commandments and my statutes according to all the law which I command your fathers and which I sent to you by my servants the prophets. Our people don't know nothing about the holidays according to the scriptures. They might be able to name one day, one high holy day according to the holy scriptures, but they can name all the holy days according to Babylon the Great. It says, which I sent to you by my servants, the prophets. And that's how Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is speaking unto the Israelites, by his servants, the prophets. Okay. Verse 16, and they left all, Salakia, I skipped. Verse 14, notwithstanding they would not hear, but hardened their necks like to the neck of their fathers. They did not believe in the Lord their power, Yahweh. Yeah, they hardened their necks. They don't believe in Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. All these things happening around them, all the calamities, pestilences, okay? We're in the beginning stages of Jacob's trouble. Jake still ain't turning from their wicked ways. They're still not turning back to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, right? Verse 15, and they rejected his statutes and his covenant that he made with their fathers and his testimonies which he testified against them, and they followed vanity and became vain and went after the heathen that were round about them. That's what our people are doing. They're still going after the ways of the heathen, concerning whom the Lord had charged them that they should not do like them. Man. Verse 16, and they left all the commandments of the Lord their power, Yahweh, and made them molten images, even 2 calves, and made a grove, and worshipped all the hosts of heaven, and served Baal. And they caused their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire, and used divination and enchantments, and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of the Lord, to provoke him to anger. So there you have it, man. We provoked the Lord to anger, and the Lord punished us, which we're still under that punishment. Okay? But through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, we have received the light. We have received this precious wisdom and knowledge. Okay? And Lord willing, we can endure all the way into the end and be saved from the calamities, the plagues, the great destruction that's coming to Babylon the Great. Lord willing, that was edifying. To the next time, Shalom.